the one drinking beer. I'm just water.
2 touchdowns a game?
Yes, in the game.
You're tripping.
How high? No,
Greatest
high
Super Bowl
expectations.
I don't know what we're doing in the front office, man.
Twiddling our fucking dick.
Ryan, I just need you to drink this. Wide receiver trivia. That's what she said. What the fuck?
Upset.
Are those crutches?
You can see Ryan's crutches in the
What is going on, folks? Welcome back to After Further Review. This is episode 217. I am your co-host, Jalen Brown.
And I'm your other great co-host, Nestor.
And I am your favorite special guest, Junebug Spade.
Folks, Malin is not here yet. We're assuming he's just running late, so he will probably be joining us at some point here in the first half of the show. But yeah, for the time being, 3 of your favorites here. We'll just hold it down. We will still open the show how we normally do, which is, of course, with a cheers. What have you got in that cup, June?
The remnants of a screwdriver.
Oh.
Yeah,
I see.
I couldn't take a shot, so.
Cheers.
A holiday cup. Cheers.
I got some Sky vodka in here.
You and that sky.
Mm. Mm. Going back to the 90s with it.
Nice. Well, folks, if you're new to the show, we are an NBA and NFL podcast. We live stream every Wednesday night here on YouTube at 9:30 Eastern Time, 9:30 in the evening Eastern Time. So if you want to keep up with the podcast every time we go live, the easiest way to do so is to subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's always linked down in the podcast description below. So be sure to click that link, and then you can be taken to the channel. Click subscribe. You'll be notified whenever we go live. So appreciate any new subscribers that we get. And yeah, with that being said, let's hop into the first topic of the week here, which is going to be the Lions and the Packers. We're going to recap what happened last week. Starting with the Thursday night game. Final score was 34-31, with the Lions pulling off the victory. Dan Campbell made some gutsy calls down the stretch, going for multiple fourth downs. Some worked, some did not. And it has caused a lot of attention as far as the decision making there. So, June, I want to ask you first, is the gambling on the fourth downs for the Lions going to cost them a championship, or going to be what leads them to a championship?
Well, ultimately, I believe that when you gamble too much, you're going to always lose.
Mm-hmm.
I lived in Las Vegas for 10 years, and the house always wins. Okay. I like some of the gambling, but I think there's certain point in time where it shouldn't be necessary. I see a lot of coaches overcoaching. We saw it in the championship games in college football this weekend. So coaches just overcoaching their teams, and it cost them some losses. Saw it in the NFL in some of the games this weekend. So Dan Campbell has got to watch that. There's a fine line between making a gutsy call and making a smart call.
Mm-hmm.
Football has become so analytical now. You know, if you watch the game, they tell you that 4th and 1 on the 47-yard line of the opponent, you should go for it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And those are the kind of analytics that is helping win football games. That's the stuff that Andy Reid is using to win football games. Why do you think they win so many close games? Because they're using the analytics that Andy Reid is that guy. I'm not going to blow everybody out, so I'm just going to win when I can. You know what I mean? And Dan Campbell has got to watch that because, as you saw with the Eagles, that tush push, people started figuring out how to stop it.
Mm-hmm.
And and ultimately it didn't lead them anywhere. Using that tush push didn't lead them. Yeah, it got them some great wins throughout the regular season. But when they started playing good teams, like when they played the Cowboys late in the season, when they played other teams late in the season, they didn't get any wins, and they lost in the first round of playoffs. So you have to be very careful when you start gambling like Dan Campbell does. You got to understand that when you start playing these very good teams, that they're going to figure out a way to stop your fourth downs, and they're going to know you're going for it too. It should be one of those things where you say, "Okay, I'm gonna use this when the strategy tells me to use it." Not, "Oh, I'm just going to gamble," because that was unnecessary. That was unnecessary on fourth down. That was really because it could have backfired. If he doesn't get it, they get the ball back and they take it down and probably score. So good for him that they got it, but it's ultimately going to cost him against a better team, or against the same team. I guess because Green Bay is a good team, so
Yeah.
it could ultimately cost him against that same team. So
Nestor.
You know what's weird? Whenever Green Bay plays Chicago, I'm like, why is Green Bay considered a good team? Like, how do you go from like having a tight game with Chicago to like, and then this happens where you have a tight game with Detroit? I don't know. I mean, um, I know Chicago's defense is good, but damn, I think it's gonna be favorable for him in the playoffs. Reason being, I feel like if you have a great offense, especially the running game, why not use it?
Yeah.
I think 2 of their touchdowns came from those fourth downs, scenarios. So, if you have it, use it. I don't think he's going to be in a situation again like last season where it's going to cost him. I think luck favors the bold as long as you have that preparation, you have the offense to back it up. If you don't, then it's probably going to end ugly. But I like Dan Campbell's boldness with his running game. Like he has a lot of things he could use. You can use Montgomery down the line, or you can just like we saw that screen pass to Jahmyr Gibbs.
Mm.
So he's got a lot of tools to work with, and I feel like it should give him the edge over some teams that personally I think don't have it. Like for example, Green Bay does not have it. Jordan Love doesn't even know who his main wide receiver is. So they can't do that. So yeah, I think we're gonna see it in the playoffs. And I would, if I am not a betting man, I do not like to gamble, but I have no luck. But if I were to bet, if I were to tell my little brother, go ahead and do a parlay, I would say go ahead and put your money on Dan Campbell this playoff season.
This is such a tough one because when you look at that first one that failed,
Mhm.
and it was like just so unnecessary and just let Green Bay right back into the game.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's one of those things that most of us just forgot about because the second one succeeded and it led to them kind of icing the game. So, recency bias is always a thing, even when it comes to the same game. To me, in the NFC, I do think that will probably be enough. Like, I really think that they are leaps and bounds better than just about any other team in the NFC. And even on a bad decision for 1/4 down, I think they're good enough to overcome that. If they do reach a Super Bowl, though, that's where I think it could bite them in the tail, and then they're kind of looked at as like a laughing stock for blatantly boneheaded decision making, especially if you're going up against Andy Reid, where the Chiefs are just going to benefit off of any mistake that you make. When you got the refs like that too, it's going to help them out. So mistakes, refs, that's how it works. But I will say, like, really to echo what June says, if the data is saying to go for it, I've got no problem with that. But clearly in that situation where it failed, there was no way any kind of statistic was telling you to go for that.
No, it's unnecessary. Like I
That
said,
is
now
Dan
let's get this.
Campbell.
I want to make this point before we move on. I think it can get them to a championship.
Yes.
But do I think they can win a championship? It depends on who you're going against.
Yeah.
It
Because
depends on who you're going against.
it's like in the playoffs, it really like game by game or round by round, it's like the
Mm-hmm.
margin for error becomes tighter and tighter and tighter.
Mm-hmm.
To the point where you get to the Super Bowl where there is no room for error, because that's
Yeah.
a lot of times you look at the past few years, that's what separates who wins and who loses. It's just a mistake here, a mistake there.
Right.
So I don't know. Curious to hear what Malin's thoughts are on his underdog lines.
Yeah. Oh God. Oh yeah.
But anyway, let's move to the next game. Right across here, the other team in the NFC North that no one is talking about, the Vikings. They spanked the Falcons 42-21 was the final score.
Yeah.
And we can also talk about the Vikings here, but first of all, why haven't the Falcons started Michael Penix at this point after Kirk Cousins threw 2-3 more picks in this game? I think at least 2.
Right.
June, you can go ahead.
Well, I think one of the reasons is, I mean, he's still a veteran, and I think Bomani Jones said it yesterday. He said, if Michael Penix was good enough, he'd already started. So it must be something in that they're seeing with Michael Penix that says this guy is not ready. That's the only thing I can think of, and I think Bomani Jones hit it on the head. If he was good enough, he'd be in the game. He would be like Bo Nix. He would have. He would have been like C.J. Stroud from last year. I mean, hell, even Bryce Young is playing better as a player.
Yeah.
There's something. It's not just it's. I think if they had another alternative, they would have bitched Kirk Cousins these last couple of games, just because he's just playing so bad right now. And I don't know if it's him or the offensive coordinator, but they got to get the ball to Robinson. This guy is he can move down the field. He can move the whole team down the field. He's done it. For some reason, they've gotten away from that running game. I don't think it's all on Kirk Cousins. I think some of it is on the offensive coordinator. It could be Kirk Cousins saying, "Oh, let me throw the ball, let me throw the ball, let me throw the ball." Yeah. But no, I think it's more on the offensive coordinator not taking control and saying, "No, we got to stick to the run. It's been working. This guy can run for 1,300 yards a season. Let's stick to the run." So I think that's one of the reasons why Michael Penix Jr. isn't starting, because maybe he's just not ready. They don't feel he's ready yet.
Nestor.
And as far as I'm sorry, I just want to say the Vikings are just a good. So his team came out of nowhere. I'm really proud of them because I had them going. Oh God, I had them going especially after JJ McCarthy got hurt. I was like, oh, Sam Darnold starting. Oh, that's 2-15. Wrong. Wrong. Good God, man. This is a hell of a coaching job.
Yeah.
This is coaching. This is straight up coaching.
We all got
for real
led astray on that one.
For real.
Nestor, why do you think Michael Penix is not starting?
Well, first, I would be led to believe that there's, like June said, there's something going on with the offense, particularly like the offensive coordinator, because something's just not clicking well. It wasn't clicking well past seasons, and it's definitely not clicking well this season. And looking at their, what is it, like this is their fourth straight loss.
Something like that.
They have not been impressive at all offensively.
No.
There's one or two games where they have been, but I think it was against the Panthers one, and then against the very own Bucks, where that was like a shootout. So, So, something's just not going well, and I think they feel like Penix is not the solution for that. Maybe they have a tiny bit of self-awareness and they know that he wouldn't be the solution. But yeah, I think Kirk Cousins is still good for the job. It's just that they need to look internally at what they're doing, their coaching. But I would love to see Penix get a shot. And I did not expect him to slide like this towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about it, about the Bucks being, finally losing the division, and here we see Atlanta making a case the complete opposite way. So 4 straight losses.
God. Oh, God.
They only got 6 points against the Broncos with a great defense, and then only 13 against the Chargers. And I did not expect the Vikings to spank them like that. But hey, here we are.
Glad
I am not a betting man, like I said.
Yeah, I don't think Penix must not be starting him just out of him not being ready to start in an NFL game yet. But I do feel like we've got to see him before the end of this year, if this keeps up at least. And if Kirk Cousins comes back and cuts down the turnovers, and they're still right there in the playoff race with the Bucks. So if that happens, probably not. But if he keeps sliding, then it's like, why not? Like at that point, it's almost like, what does it matter if he's ready or not? Like throw him out there, because at this point we need some sort of a drastic change. Thing with the Falcons though, it's like June said, like they can't seem to get the ball to all these playmakers they have, and it's another year of the same problem. New head coach, new OC. I think Zach Robinson is the offensive coordinator, and this is his first year as a coordinator.
Yeah,
and it's just the same issues. New quarterback.
right.
So I don't know. It just seems like the Falcons are just allergic to picking good coaching staffs because I don't understand how anybody that has those dudes in fantasies, it's like they're just every season the same complaints. Like,
yeah. I mean, I had Bijan, and one of the reasons why my fantasy team started sliding is because of some fact they stopped giving him the ball. He did good this past week. He actually had 20-something points.
Yeah.
But the simple fact of the matter, it still wasn't enough. That's not enough. They're obviously not getting him the ball enough. And I know they're giving Algier some more carry and things like that. But between the tight end and Bijan Robinson, those two guys should be his number one targets, getting them the ball.
Yeah.
The head coach and the offensive coordinator should be building that entire offense around those two players and telling Kirk Cousins, these are your main two guys, everybody else is backup. That's what it comes down to. And I think they got to get back to the basics. If this team want to make the playoff and make a deep run in the playoffs, they have to get back to basics. Getting the ball to the tight end, running the football. They're gonna have to play hard-nosed football to get back into it. Even when I my predictions on TikTok this week, I said that this was a must-win game, and I said, but the Vikings are going to win it. I said it. The Vikings are going to win it. I knew it's just something wrong with the Falcons, and I don't know if it can be fixed.
G Money says, shout out to G Money in the chat. He says, I think Atlanta believed that Cousins gave them the best shot at the playoffs, but that may change if they're out of the playoff picture.
Right.
Yeah. If you're not in the running anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Malin, what's up, man?
Hey, how we doing, you surly sons of bitches?
We are doing well.
What's
We're just
up?
talking about how inept the Falcons are.
Oh, good lord. When are they gonna, when is the owner gonna pull his shriveled ass little penis out of Cousin's ass? And I guess since I started down this rabbit hole sticking in penances, I don't know, but that sounds a little terrible.
Peasants to the
In
Jets
that
next year.
case, Penix might be able to go ahead and leave me on the bench, man.
Kirk Cousins to the Jets. Somebody's going to some veteran is going to the Jets. They are not picking the quarterback.
You want
First
somebody
round.
I want to know
now.
before we continue. I want to know what Junebug's answer was to this because I remember a certain somebody after Cousins threw for 500 yards telling me on this show that, that Kirk Cousins is going to start the rest of the year at this team.
We all said it. Don't even go there. Everybody said it. Everybody said it.
He said-
Don't
he
even
said
go there.
everybody said it.
Play the tape, David. Play the tape.
Probably the only one that said this would happen.
Yeah. Well, I was the only one that said it would happen. It just didn't help me that after I said it would happen, that Cousins threw for 500 some yards like 4 days later. And then
That was Kirk O'Chains, man. That was Kirk O'Chains.
I was
Yeah,
like, damn it, Kurt. Like,
now he's
what
back
are we
to
doing, man?
Kirk Cousins.
He's back.
Oh,
to
he's been back to Kirk Cousins.
he looks like Commander's Kirk Cousins. Holy
he
crap.
went.
Oh
He
my
came
God.
back home for the family reunion and never left.
Man.
And falling out in Cousinville. Oh,
That's
that's terrible.
you know
too,
what?
Cousinville
That's
shit.
going to Magic City down there in Atlanta. You need to
That-
stay out of Magic
And
City.
that's what it'll do to you.
Them girls will wear you out, boy. The girls gonna wear him out. Boy.
Hey, man. Saturday nights. That's what he's seeing. Whatever. Let's move on to the next game here. We've got the Seahawks and the Cardinals, where the Seahawks won 30-18. So now the Seahawks have a full game lead over the Rams. Maitland, we'll start with you here since it's your team and you're here. Will the Seahawks hold on to the top of the NFC West?
Well, I sure as shit hope we do. Whether or not we actually will, that definitely remains to be seen because, there's a couple things that I knew for certain that was going to happen this last week. One, I knew that Seahawks were going to beat the Arizona Cardinals. Two, I knew that Dallas would lose to Cincy. I just didn't know that they would block a punt to do it and lose a game in which I'd never seen in
How do you block
Pee-wee,
a punt and lose
middle
a
school,
damn
high
game?
school, college, and professional. Never seen something like that
Only
before in my
thing
life.
27 had to do was fall on the ball.
I mean,
All
you
he had to
block
do
the
was
kick
almost
you block the punt.
fall on the ball, buddy.
and you give
Just
the ball back to the Bengals. It's
Pee-wee,
crazy.
Pee-wee rule 101, fall on the ball.
Yeah, and that's some Cowboys logic right there too.
It
Just
is.
fall on the balls. That sounds like something that Nestor would say. Just fall on the balls. To do that. So I knew that those things were going to happen. What I really didn't expect was for the Rams to beat the Bills. I really thought
Yeah.
that going into this week, if we took care of the Arizona Cardinals, that the Bills do what the Bills should do, beat the Rams, and we would have a 2-game lead going into this last little stretch here because, hey, we got Green Bay on Sunday night. We Minnesota the next week.
Damn.
We got the Bears.
Damn.
Then we play the Rams.
Damn.
The Bears should be able to beat. If we don't beat the Bears, we have no business being in the playoffs whatsoever. But the whole Green Bay, Minnesota, I was like, I really want a 2-game stretch. We got a 2-game lead going into those 2 games because hopefully Seattle, can win one of those 2. And then you take care of business with the Bears. You're 2-1 out of those 3 games. Then you got the Rams. And I was hoping that, the Rams fall off a little bit. Here we are only a game back. So it kind of is looking like the NFC West is going to come down to that last week. Always does with these 2 fucking teams. I hate the Rams. If they were an endangered species, I'd still put a gun to a ram's head and pull the trigger. I would fly across every zoo in America and just kill them all. So it's one of those that I wish that it wasn't going to come down to that, but it looks like that's what's going to happen. The Rams are scary, man. I'm still not really sold on that defense. I mean, you let Josh Allen look like you're playing on rookie mode on Madden with like 6 total touchdowns, and I mean, I think you got somebody like 51 points in fantasy. But that Nakua, Stafford, that's scary. So we'll see, but I do think the Seahawks have found something on defense. The defense has been playing great, probably the last like 4 or 5 weeks. Tyler Lockett, the only thing fading faster in his hairline is his touches, because Geno Smith is falling in love with Smith and Jigma, and DK Metcalf is still trying to fight people on the sidelines. Walker's hurt, but Charbonnet did well. Let's see, but I think it's going to go down this last game. I hope we can win it. I hope. I have faith.
Yeah,
Not a whole lot, though.
I'll go briefly here because I agree. I think it's going to come down to that last game, which is just really ironic because like every single year it seems with this division it comes down to a final game of the season matchup. It's also funny how like several weeks ago we were talking about the Cardinals or the 49ers winning the division. But here we are. So
but here we are.
Yeah, unfortunately, like Malin said, I think that best case scenario, they beat either the Packers or the Vikings. They should beat the Bears, and then it comes down to that last one against the Rams. So, should be interesting. But that schedule is not the easiest at this point in the season. So,
Right.
Yeah. Nestor, we'll go to you next.
I think they have the only issue for me for Seattle is just the schedule. It's kind of a rough schedule because you have teams like the Vikings and the Bears, Packers too. Just really solid defense. And besides the Bears, some pretty good coaching. So I would say though, given what happened earlier in the season, I didn't expect the Seahawks offense to, like, for example, the O-line is performing, I think, pretty well. Zach Charbonnet stepping up, got Jason stepping up. So they have a wide variety of things that are, like, looking up for them. And, I mean, their defense against the run could, maybe be more solid. But I think if this is all decided against, that last game, it's gonna be a pretty fun game to watch. Probably one of the better games of the season, I think so. So, Malin, maybe, the Rams trip up. You never know. I don't know why we went on overtime against the Jets. Weird things happen all the time. It could happen against the 49ers. It could happen against the Jets.
That is true. Aaron Rodgers threw for over 300 yards for the first time in 35 games.
Right. Maybe he's feeling the pressure completely off, and now he's like, you know what? So we'll see, man. It's crazy. It's happening again, just like last season. Whatever.
June.
Seattle, it's coming down to these last two. The next 2 weeks is very critical for that entire division. Even for the 49ers. I mean, they're sitting there and they're still in that hunt. And I still believe they're going to be knocked out. I don't think they're going to, I still think they got 2 losses left in them throughout the season. But the Cardinals play 3 of the next 4 games at home. They play the Panthers. They play the Patriots. They play the Panthers. And then they play the Rams. And they play the Cardinals. I'm sorry, 2-2. They're 2-2. 2 games at home, 2 games on the road. But the simple fact of the matter is that the Patriots and the Panthers, even though the Panthers shown a little bit of promise, I still don't see the Panthers overcoming the Cardinals. And the Cardinals and Ram games can go either way, and the 49ers and Cardinals can go either way. Seattle's schedule is a little bit tougher, and the Rams are starting to heat up a little bit. And if that's any indication of what we saw, that they're going to be playing like that the rest of the season, they may sweep through the last 4 games of the season and sneak into that 4th spot. But that means if you want to make the playoffs, you're going to have to get that wild card spot and hope that the Commanders lose. But I don't know, man. I like the Cardinals to take that division just because of their
Wow.
scheduling. I think
I'm sorry, what?
it favors them. I think
What was that?
I think the Cardinals' schedule favors them to win the division.
There was one team that's out of it at this point. It's Arizona. They're down by 2 games, and we own the tiebreaker. Seattle would have to lose 3 out of 4 for them to even be tied. They'd have to win.
Again, your schedule could.
I know what my schedule is, but
You saying you're gonna take a fat L to the Packers?
He said you're losing everybody.
did Kyler Murray is he going to grow 3 inches by the end of the year?
Try to instigate.
Sam Darnold for the lights out.
He is.
Sam Darnold for the lights out.
Okay. All right.
Sam Darnold for the lights out. Y'all keep sleeping on Sam Darnold.
You was just saying that Chicago defense.
No,
too
much.
Don't
say sleeping on Sam Darnold. Y'all might want to sleep with him, but there ain't no one sleeping on him. Yeah.
I'm just saying the Cardinals' schedule is favorable. It's favorable.
And the Bears
Are you trying to
coach
say that
still don't know his
Jay
name.
Jettis is going to run all over Seahawks defense? You're trying to say that.
He's gonna be hitting the gritty all day.
I get tired of doing it.
Oh, this man. Cardinals
Well,
win the division.
June is trying to get something.
Gonna get a frustrated
out of
Grizzly.
it.
This is why we get no respect with takes like this. This is why people. I mean, if anyone like LA to me would have a shot. I mean, they play San Francisco, which I'm really hoping San Francisco beats them this week. I really hope San Francisco beats them. But then they play the Jets, and then they play Arizona. Oh shit, those are 2 easy wins. And then they play Seattle at the end. But let's not act like the Rams are world breakers either. I mean, they beat the Saints 21-14 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
So not like they're world beaters here. They just had one crazy ass game. That was their first time since week 8 since they'd scored over 30 points. But that defense was still like a damn strainer. It just the Bills could do whatever they wanted to. So I don't know. I mean, it's one of the more interesting divisions in the NFL.
Yeah.
It'll be crazy. Ewan has his thoughts as wild as they are. Cardinals
Hey, we'll do. I tell you what, the Cowboys will do their
30-18.
part. We'll do our part and we'll beat the Commanders for you the last week of the season, just in case you need that last game to get that wild card spot. How about that?
June, y'all can't even properly block a punt. Don't tell me y'all gonna beat another team.
No, we can beat the Commanders.
Rest
we
of
can
this
beat the
season.
Commanders.
Y'all block a punt and give the ball back
Please don't.
to the Bengals 15 yards down the field.
They got it. I'm just guessing that they was throwing the game because trying to get that
craziest.
Trying to get that Genty. Trying to get Genty, man. Trying to get Genty.
Like, could you imagine, Jalen? Can you imagine a rabid Cowboys fan? Like, not someone that's a realist like June here that just already knows what his fate is. But, someone out there got a Cooper Rush tattoo. And they're watching this game. And they see the Cowboys block the punt. The emotion that must go through your body as a fan. To block the punt with a minute left. And then the other team get the ball. I've never seen that before in
No.
my life.
Yeah.
That is a very Cowboys way to handle business.
Just fall on the ball, dog. Just fall
Yeah.
on the ball.
See, I think Jerry
Just fall
Jones
on the
needs to be
ball.
more. I think he needs to be more specific because Jerry Jones always says he wants to make history. I just think he needs to determine what history that is because they made history. They did something that a lot of people never seen before. That was just batshit crazy. That was wild. I knew
we
somehow,
lost
some way I
DeMar
was
and
going to work that
Overshawn.
in this episode. It's just.
And
That's
then not
wild.
only that, DeMarion Overshawn career might be over. He didn't tear his ACL; he ruptured it. That's a big difference. That's a big difference. He ruptured it. They said.
That sounds awful.
Yep.
That doesn't sound like a lot of fun.
All right, that's gonna do it
Okay.
for the first half of this week's show. June, thank you, sir, for joining us for another first half. If you want these and more hot takes on the Cowboys and other NFL teams, his TikTok is linked down in the description below. Until TikTok is banned next month, hopefully. But it's neither here nor there. That's a different show. Be sure to follow him on TikTok, folks. In June.
You say hopefully?
Thank you again for joining us for another first half. So
Thank you.
when we come
Appreciate
back after 10 minutes, we will have G Money on the other side. And we are going to be talking NBA and why people are not watching this year. And then we're getting into the Ride or Die in 5 for some betting picks this weekend. So sit tight for 10 minutes.
So some people decided to get some hate on my take. CeeDee Lamb, not a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL. Your boy, currently 32nd in the league in receptions, number 10 in yards, 35th in touchdown. That doesn't sound elite. There's 32 teams in the NFL, and this man is below 32 in 2 out of 3 major categories. So go ahead, Cowboys fans. Blame Dak, blame McCarthy, but your boy CeeDee Lamb is not even a top 30 wide receiver in 2 out of 3 categories in the NFL.
You have Tom Brady on your bench, Nestor?
Yeah.
How do you have on his roster? That might be one of the reasons why you're trash, man.
I did that when I was already eliminated. There was 1 week where Tom Brady got more points than Travis Etienne. Etienne, there was a week he got negative 0.2 points.
I think my team is still a good team.
You're eliminated, June.
Oh, am I?
Yeah.
Am I eliminated?
You're eliminated too. We're all eliminated except for G Money.
I'm not doing shit then.
What was that noise?
Take a shot. Too much up. Rise up. Oh! Come on, let's go. Somebody got to win. Who wants it? How bad do you want it? Oh, you got it. Here we go. Right line. Oh, not tonight, sir.
Why is it that everyone is just unanimously assuming that Lamar Jackson is running away with the MVP race right now? Lamar Jackson, 68% completion, 2,300 yards, 20 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 500 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. I'm looking at Josh Allen, 64 completion. He's got over 2,000 yards. He's 17-2. And he's only got 260 yards rushing, but he has 3 touchdowns. I think it's a lot closer. Baltimore has a better running back. I don't think that Shakir or Coleman or Kincaid are better than Flowers and Andrews, likely. Lamar Jackson has better weapons around him. Josh Allen is keeping pace with less around him. And I think that it's like a 1A, 1B right now between those two.
Well, I just walked 2 miles in this damn stadium.
Can I get a Miller Lite, man?
Okay. I like your shirt.
It's like $18. We're Road G, seat 21, 22. And LSU.
I apologize.
Oh, drinks. You're good. You're good. I want to know what happened to Baltimore's defense. Bucks ain't this good.
Incomplete. 3rd and goal.
Technically, it's 101st.
Holding. Bring that shit back. You're a wizard. $1 more would have gotten you a highlight. They conned us. They conned us into this.
Yeah, some bullshit.
Excuse me, sir. There's a lot of elderly Ravens fans right here.
Yes, bro, the Baltimore Colts marching band back when they used to have a marching band.
A lot of popcorn. Well, there goes our points. There goes our points.
Why are you so mad, man?
Tyler Bubbles.
He's so angry. They're going to the exit!
Henry on the carry. Held down by Levante David. 2nd and 11 at the 41.
You lucked out with Brady. 3.
Last shit don't matter. Better get before that.
So you bet me 4-3?
Yeah, we 4-3, and we gonna win our division. Y'all will not.
No, you're not even number 1.
Atlanta way better than you crazy.
Oh, shit.
Aaron Rodgers. He has to be in the perfect situation for him to have worked out. They're going to have to make a decision next year. I hope they make the right decision and let the guy go.
I think they brought in Aaron Rodgers wanting to win the Super Bowl, but you got to remember who the team is. It's the Jets. When have they ever, even when it seems like they make the right move, it ends up being the wrong move? People give the Cowboys crap year in and year out when they don't win a Super Bowl, yet they won 12 games 3 years in a row. But it seems like Aaron Rodgers always gets a freaking pass. It's always somebody else's fault when it comes to Aaron Rodgers not even getting back to a Super Bowl.
The offense is fine. It's that defense that needs some help, but this defense has got to be fixed.
They can be great. I wouldn't necessarily call them frauds. I just think they're fraudulent at times.
They are exactly what we saw last season. They're not frauds. I just feel like they are the Ravens.
I guess I'm going to be the one person that comes on here and calls them frauds. But their secondary is terrible. They'll let anybody come in there and throw a party on them.
Right.
Justin Tucker, he has the yips.
Don't even get June going on that Ravens defense going up against Kellen Moore offense.
Kellen Moore had a first grade math workbook as his play calling sheet, and he ran circles around.
It's like the Bills in the 90s, man. People don't realize that the Bills and the Dolphins pretty much played every year for the AFC Championship game and played for the AFC East, and the Dolphins always lost. It was in their head, and that's what it seems to be now. It's just in Tua's head.
Tua needs great people around him for him to be great. Josh Allen makes other people around him better than what they are. When you have a quarterback like that, you're going to beat the quarterback that needs the people more often than not. Buffalo is the standard still.
middle in the AFC East right now.
The Dolphins defense cannot contain Josh Allen. Just looking back the past couple of years, this past game, he threw for 235 yards. When they played them earlier this year, only 139 yards, but that was game 2 and went down, and they just ran the ball all over the Dolphins. Playoff game, 359 yards, 320 yards, 304 yards, 400
they're
yards. He
undefeated,
is
and everybody
torched
can
them.
continue to laugh at me when I say that the Lions are better. No,
Come on, dog. You gotta let that shit go.
Hold on.
You have to let that shit go, bro.
The power rankings on ESPN and NFL Network are agreeing with me. Pro Football Focus agrees with me. And here's the thing.
Bro.
Yeah, the eye test. Eye test is easy because Detroit's blowing people out and Kansas City is barely winning games. Kansas City is plus 56 on point differential. They've scored 203 points, giving up 147. Detroit, on the other hand, has scored 258, giving up 148. They're plus 110. They're more than 50 points better in the point differential than Kansas City. And luck has everything to do with it sometimes when you win games and when you have the refs help.
Welcome back, folks. Welcome back to your favorite show on the internet. It's AFR episode 217. We have got the one, the only G Money joining us for another second half. What's going on, G Money?
Hey, I'm just kicked back here, getting ready to talk some football, maybe some basketball, watching Dallas and OKC. It doesn't get much better than that. Well, it does, but not a whole lot better.
That's fair. Little in-season tournament action. Let's start off our second half with round 2 for a cheers.
I don't have a shot with me. I just have my beer.
And Nestor still got his sky. G Money, what have you got there?
That was good.
I mean,
Oh, what was that G Money that you're drinking?
I'm drinking, since I've got it open, the Jack Daniel's single malt. I was looking around thinking, what did I want to drink? I'm like, well, I've got that open. Why open up something else?
Good.
There you go.
All right, let's get to the next topic of the week. NBA topic. It's kind of just ironic, but so the ratings for the NBA have been significantly down in comparison to at least last year or previous years. And it seems like, these past few years, it's just been decreasing year over year. But this year, it seems like a bigger chunk of people are just not tuning into the NBA. I wanted to hear from all of us as to, A, are you watching NBA games regularly this year? And then B, why you think that the ratings are down and why it seems like the consensus is people just are not watching the regular season right now. So, G Money, we'll start with you on what you think here.
Well, yeah, I'm definitely watching. I'm watching right now. I watched Milwaukee Orlando earlier. But yeah, I think what it is, as demographics trend younger, people aren't the younger generation. I mean younger generation, younger than any of us. I'm old as shit, and you all are still younger, but still, we used to talk about like early 20s. They've got other things to do. I mean, they'll tune in for the playoffs, but I think it's hard to find people that are like 21, 22, 23 that have a favorite NBA team and have a lot of them where they're watching the games. They've got other things to do, they're and watching, and not just basketball, but watching any sport. It's like, nah, that doesn't do it for me. And I don't know how you change that. I don't know how you, because the NBA, I mean, it's a scoring league. It's fast paced. I mean, you can understand with baseball. I mean, baseball tried to change it to get more viewers, get younger viewers. NBA, I mean, you've got stars. I mean, you could probably name 7 or 8 players, just right off the top of your head, who are stars and well known. But I think it's just that if you're, let's say, 17 to 23, 24, and sports isn't that important to you, there are other things you're doing. And maybe you catch it during the playoffs, but it's just like, I've got something better to do. And as we get older, your audience shrinks.
It on the younger audience note, it definitely seems like the NBA is kind of having a harder time drawing in like the Gen Z crowd. They just don't watch full games like that, seemingly anyway, unless it is like a playoff game or something like that. They'll just catch the highlights on TikTok or whatever. But at least in comparison, I feel like that generation is more into the NFL because of gambling and because of how easy it is to gamble now. And Gen Z don't mind, making some money. So if they got to tune in for their Prize Picks or FanDuel, whatever it may be, they'll do that. But NBA betting is not the same as NFL betting. It's just not as enticing, I feel like. And so if it seems like a lot more people like NFL is king when it comes to sports gambling, just period. So with that being said, they're not paying too much attention to NBA wise. At least maybe it's part of a parlay, but they're not going to sit down and watch the game. They're just going to see what the result was in the end. So as far as the younger crowd goes, it really does seem like the NBA is having a very hard time getting that like 20 to 23, 24 year old to sit down and watch an entire game through. So there's that, but Malin, curious to see what you think.
I think the NBA has several issues going on right now for the first half of the season. One, in NFL season is wide open. Even with the Chiefs only having one loss and Detroit having only one loss, there seems to be a lot more teams that people think have a chance. NFL season has been exciting. I think college football has been crazy this year with not only just the transfer portal and NIL, but when you get into this 12-team playoff, there's teams in this 12-team playoff that like nobody thought was going to be in the 12-team playoff. But by this point, so I think the NFL and college football are playing a part of it. I think that another part of it is that with an 82-game season with the NBA, I think a lot of NBA fans have gotten accustomed to, well, the NBA gets interesting after the All-Star break. Because the usual suspects will be there in contention in their conferences or whatever you want to call them after the All-Star break, and that's when it's going to get interesting, and we'll tune in after that. I mean, heck, even I'm that way. I would rather, because I've been watching so much NFL, college football, and I was watching so much baseball before that. Like if it's not the Celtics on, I might be like, you know what, I'm gonna take a night off from watching sports, unless it's like a really intriguing matchup. But even the intriguing matchups end up looking boring. Like they're just not exciting right now. And I think the last problem that we have, like you said, we're coming in with young fans in the NBA is, the more that the top players coming into the NBA are not American, more that the NBA is going to do better worldwide and overseas, but it's going to land differently on deaf ears in the United States. It's neat to see, the Joker and stuff like that. But Wembanyama, Luka, all these players, like it's neat to see. But we're hitting a crossroads with college basketball and the NBA as far as turning out great talent. And I mean, like, who's the last, player that came through college it's super successful now. I mean, Gary and I did this exercise like a month ago where we were talking about, like who are like the 20, 25 top players in the NBA and how many of them came through, college basketball. And you're losing that type of fan. We can't relate to a lot of these people that come overseas from Europe and stuff like that. A lot of these younger fans can't relate to them. They didn't see them growing up and playing for a college team or something like that. We're in LeBron James's 21st year. We haven't had another type of LeBron type player except for like a Zion Williams that hasn't lived up to the hype. Ja Morant, his buddies want to shoot people instead of him play ball, and now he's even coming out and saying he's not going to dunk anymore. It just seems like the NBA is turning more to like a Eastern European style of basketball that isn't really that exciting for the average American fan. And I think everyone just expects for the Celtics to run it back and win it again this year. So I just think there's not a whole lot of intrigue in the first half. After the All-Star break, we'll get more people watching, but I think the NBA definitely has an image problem.
Yeah, I've got a lot to piggyback on that, but Nestor, you can go ahead.
Yeah, I do think first and foremost the timing with the NFL is a problem. Not only are you heading into like the pivotal phase of the season with the NFL, a lot of people, like what Malin said, just see the how many games is it in regular season, like 92 or 80 something? I forgot how many. 80. Okay, they just see it as a huge preseason, most of it.
Yeah.
And personally, I've always seen it like that. Like I don't start watching basketball till like next year. Sorry. I look at the results, yes, but I don't really like actually sit down and watch it till like the following year. So the point about Gen Z, I think I actually like look this up because they tend to see things a lot different, and as you get older you just don't have their perspective on things. I remember when I was in high school, everybody was talking about LeBron and Kobe. I know maybe like the comparison is a little off, but you remember when you used to like you would go right to GameStop, you wanted that one game, and there was like three games you wanted. There was no noise. With basketball, no noise. It was just LeBron, Kobe, and it was like two or three channels. And you tuned in. Everybody knew what happened the night before, and it was like that's all they talked about during lunch. And I feel like now you have a lot of noise. Like Gen Z has a huge amount of like data slapping them the whole day. Like all these TikToks, they like 10-second videos, and then now they're getting into like gambling with parlays. Like I told you guys, my little brother loves parlays, and he, like you said, he doesn't actually sit down and watch the games. He just looks up the result. So they need to find a way to simplify this because, in my opinion, because nowadays, like you have to find a way to grab the attention of these kids and of the people in their 20s, 30s, whatever. And they're failing hard, and it's eventually it's not going to be just a timing thing with the NFL. They need to find a way to, I don't know, not have like 300 different streaming options for these games. Narrow it down. And what Malin was saying about these Eastern European athletes, I think also has a lot to do with it. But I still think they need to find a way to like narrow this down. They lost, like I said before, they had Kobe, LeBron, and it was just like this huge thing. Now it doesn't feel like you have that anymore. Like, I mean, who do we even what, Ant-Man? Shy? Like it just doesn't feel like that anymore. And when you have 300 different streaming options, you kind of lose the audience, especially Gen Z. So yeah.
Yeah, the star thing is funny because like LeBron has been their like bread and butter for the last 20 some odd years now. And then like you threw in like KD, Steph, and they have like been like the rivals for the last 15-ish years. But now they're on their back nine, obviously,
Right.
and like now you've got the new guys coming in, but most of them are international, and kind of like Malin was saying, I think people have a harder time maybe identifying with them. And it's just like there is no de facto like that guy. Like
Right.
LeBron has been that guy this whole time, and KD has been like right there, and then like Steph was kind of right there. But it's like without like
Look at
that guy, it's hard to get the rest of that.
look at Luca. Luca L's.
Right.
L's.
Right.
Like they want somebody that just
Yeah, but-
dominates, and then you have that rivalry. Like,
Yeah.
you don't get that.
But like, you would tune in. You might not be a Cleveland fan, but you tuned in to watch
Exactly.
LeBron when he came out.
Right.
Yeah.
You did that. And the same thing, you might not be a Lakers fan, but if the Lakers are playing and Kobe was playing, you watched that.
Mhm.
I mean, it was a carryover from the 80s, right? When Michael Jordan was playing. You could hate Michael Jordan. You could hate the Bulls, but you would watch them play because you wanted to watch him play. Magic, Larry. I mean, you tuned in to watch them because of what they could do on the court, and especially when they played head to head. I mean, you tune in now, and you go, okay, what's the matchup I want to see? And you're hard pressed to pick two players that you want to see going head to head. It's like, okay, I want to watch. I'm watching, like I said, Dallas, Oklahoma City, but I didn't tune in to see Doncic. Didn't tune in to see SGA. I mean,
Right.
I tuned in to watch the game, but they weren't what drove me to watch the game. And I think that's what you need too. You need a couple of dominant players that grab your attention and make you want to tune in and watch them. And right now, the NBA doesn't have that. They've got a lot of good players. And I said, and as Malin said, he and I went through a list of like the top 25 NBA players. And we had a little trouble after 15, but the fact that you could get to basically 15 tells you that it's pretty evenly spaced, but that's a problem too, because now it's like, well, it's not an enticing matchup. As you say, Gen Z's attention span is probably like 12 and a half seconds. And they don't want to watch an hour and a half of basketball. And betting has changed somewhat. I mean, they got rebounds per game, rebounds in the quarter. You can bet on there. There are a lot of different options, but I think if they're betting those, they're not watching the game. As you said, Jalen, they're betting and then they're checking the stats later to see if they won or not. They're checking their ticket.
I'm not even sure that your average NBA fan is aware of the way that betting has changed in the NBA and the things that you can bet on. Because it's pretty much, like NFL is just kind of king in the parlays that you can do. And the other thing I think you guys touched on a little bit when it comes to the NBA, like where are the rivalries?
Yeah.
Like who's the villain right now? You need a villain to have NBA viewership at the time. Like people are done hating LeBron the way that they used to because they don't view him as a viable person to win another NBA championship.
Right.
So who are the Celtics going up is a rival? Golden State. No one thinks that they're viable.
Right.
No one really hates Denver or Dallas or Milwaukee, but no one really wants to see them in the finals either. Like, when you just hear the cities, Dallas, Milwaukee, and Denver, you're like, Jesus Christ, that sounds boring. So, Miami is not in contention. I don't think that Cat is going to do much for the Knicks. You don't have those rivalries even in the playoffs. Like who's the Celtics' biggest rivalry right now? They just won the NBA championship. Even in the East,
Cleveland, kind
is
of.
their rival.
Oklahoma City.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, but
I mean,
there's no rivalry between those two right
Right.
now.
It's like just two random cities. Like,
That's what we were saying
yeah, I
earlier about
mean,
LeBron and Kobe. Everybody in the lunch cafeteria in high school. All they talked about, people fought over this.
right. I think
You
something that's also
don't have
worth
to
noting
beat.
on the game itself, to me, everybody plays the same style now, where it's just the same. You drive and kick out 3-point shot. Like, that's it. In comparison to like just like the 2010s, there's so many teams that had different styles of play. Like the Heat, they had a different style of play to compare to the Russell Westbrook, Katie Thunder, and like the Grizzlies. They played very like just big Gasol, Zach, what was his name? I'm not gonna think of his name, but like Mike Conley was on that team, and they played very big inside basketball. Even like the Lakers at the time. If you went out east, like the Knicks had a very distinct way that they played through Carmelo and Jeremy Lin at one point, Stoudemire. There was just very distinct different styles of basketball that were being played from team to team. And now it's just all drive, kick out to the open 3-point shooter and just jack up threes. Like everybody plays the same now. And it's just it's like a 3-point shooting contest between everybody.
I seriously think that James Harden effectively tried to kill
Yeah.
the league a little bit. Because like, do people get excited over the Joker and watching him play? No. Does Luca really do it for you? I mean, he looks like me, just out of shape out there playing basketball, hitting shots
But
like
more
crazy.
hair.
But he doesn't have like the Kobe or the LeBron type of flair to his game. He just gets a lot of buckets, and no one is. Much as I love the Celtics, like does Tatum have that type of
Right.
draw?
Yeah.
No, because he's not assertive enough. Jaylen Brown and him hating Nike a little bit. That's kind of interesting. I love the little feud that they're having. But there's just not that, like you said, that style, that player that's going to draw people in. It's almost like there's so much talent, it's a little too watered down, and none of them are really terribly exciting. You don't have that one player right now. You don't have the singular one player that you can make the face
Right.
of the NBA. Is going to be that every night draw. I mean, when all these discussion shows are talking about LeBron James and Bronny, that tells you that the NBA has an image problem.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, what are they going to do when LeBron James leaves? It's the same thing. Golf had this issue with Tiger Woods. like golf had this issue with Tiger Woods. Like, what are we going to do when Tiger is no longer relevant? Yet Tiger is still the biggest draw in golf. LeBron is still the biggest draw in the NBA, but no one thinks he's going to win anything again.
Right.
So, interesting.
It doesn't help that these terrible teams try to make these suicide squads with these players, like the Knicks and then the Clippers, and it's horrible for the league. I feel it's just terrible.
Literally. Yeah.
Oh, the Clippers are great, though. I love watching the Clippers sink. I mean, could you could it get any better than a team that's just been that bad for so long to make these, get Kyrie, or not Kyrie, but get Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, and ship them off, and your mascot is literally a ship? Like, that's mascot. It's a boat in water, taking on water, sinking. It's amazing. Love it.
I don't think it helps either with this. I hate to go here, but the load management issue where you'll have a Tuesday night on ESPN or Wednesday night on ESPN, and it's Knicks and Bucks, and you can almost guarantee Cat is not playing, or Giannis is not playing. Like, it's like there's never, unless it's the playoffs, it's a regular season game. It's rare you see everybody playing in that matchup.
Little
Yeah,
side note.
that helps kill the game.
Have you guys seen Jared McCain from the 76ers? People are saying he's on. This guy's on TikTok singing acapellas and just dancing to songs. Like, and people are like, "This is what Caleb Williams was supposed to be," but he's on the NBA. Like, if you look at this guy on TikTok, he's like, how did this guy score like 20 points? And he's, oh my god.
No, people will tune in after the All-Star break, though.
They will, yeah.
You'll start seeing less load management. Games will get tighter. Whether or not, some of these teams might be, on for a little bit of history, I don't think so. I think you're probably, I made the jokes about the Celtics before the season started, but you're probably going to have another 66, 67 win team going to the playoffs. And I think that Boston's going to probably end up winning it again, but they're going to do it by just jacking up a shit ton of threes and just being better than you on defense. And it's exciting for you and I, Jalen, because we're going to see our team win a championship, but I think it's exciting for the rest of the league. So it is what it is.
Look what I just sent you to. It's hilarious. Well, I sent Actually, let me see if I can send it in.
Let's get into the last segment of the week here. It's the Ride or Die in 5, where we give the best 5 betting picks in this case, the NFL this weekend. So last week, Nestor and Malin both went 3-2. I went 4-1, and G Money went 2-3. G Money's a hot streak. I guess it had to come to an end at some point, so he finally cooled down a bit. Overall records here. Now, Malin did conduct an audit.
A short one. I feel like we need a larger audit here.
He conducted an audit to correct some things at the top.
Newsflash, Jalen's not good at math. He can't add 5 to everyone's record. Yep.
So it might be a little different from what you guys are seeing in the rundown, but it's very slightly. I am 321 and 259, so I'm plus 62. Malin is 297 and 240, plus 57. G Money is 228 and 191, plus 37, and then Nestor is 201 and 171, plus 30.
So nothing changed.
Allegedly. That's crazy as that. Yeah.
So let's start off with the first game we've got here. Sunday at 1:00. We've got the Chiefs going to Cleveland. Chiefs are 4-point favorites on the road. G Money, we will start with you. What do you like here?
Whoa. I've said it before. I said it last year. I'll say it this year. Kansas City doesn't fucking cover. If you're a Kansas City fan, don't do anything with fucking points. Just take the goddamn money line. Give me Cleveland minus the 4 because I'm pretty sure that Jameis crap hands Winston will freaking go for like 320 yards and 4 touchdowns, but also throw 3 picks, and one of those will be a touchdown for Kansas City. But Kansas City is actually hurting on the defensive back front. They just signed a guy to that practice squad that had retired back in June. So, I mean, that's how bad they are as far as the defensive backfield goes. They've got to sign someone who had retired and was basically like Joe Flacco last year, a.k.a. on the couch, watching games. He's like, yeah, I'll come back. I know I played for you back in 2015. I can still play. Like, So, yeah, give me Cleveland. I just don't see Kansas City covering. I see them winning. I don't see them covering.
Yeah, I am going to agree 100% here. G-Money, I'm glad that you learned your lesson from last week because
Mm.
you were like I think the only person to pick against the, the Chiefs to cover. So yeah, they play everybody close. I'm going to also pick the Browns and the points. So Malin.
Yeah, I gotta agree with the fact that I mean, like G Money said, Kansas City's gonna win this game. They're gonna win it with some crazy ass fashion. Not as crazy as Dallas losing to Cincinnati. I'd like to point out again that Dallas blocked a punt and that led to a Bengals game-winning drive. I just want to say that again for the third time this show that actually happened, people. Sports Center was not fucking with you. But no, whether it's going to be a blocked field goal, whether they're going to doink a ball off the goalpost and it go in to win a game, whether a team's going to do a false start, but no, they fumbled, so we're just going to give it to them to someone's toe is going to be out of bounds. To there being some sort of phantom offensive holding to, I mean, the craziest shit happens in the last 3 minutes of a Chiefs game. And I can guarantee you, whatever crazy shit happens in this game, Jameis Winston is going to be in the thick of it. Because again, last week, man, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. The week before that, it was like 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, or 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Like this man, he is like the Lord. He giveth and he taketh away without reason or understanding. You don't know why it happens. It just does. I don't think that the Lord Jesus Christ is going to deliver him from pick sixes. I think it's still going to be a problem for that man. Like G Money said, Kansas City is still hurting on the defensive front. Taylor Swift is off the road from touring right now, so Kelsey's distracted. It's just gonna be a shit show. Yeah, but somehow, some way, the Chiefs are gonna win. But by 4 points, are you fucking kidding me? They ain't gonna win by no goddamn 4 points. If they can't beat the Chargers by more than 4 points, they're not beating the Browns by more than 4 points. It's crazy.
Go ahead, Nestor.
Yeah, I think so. I'm looking the last 5 games they've played, the Chiefs. They lost one against the Bills, of course, and then the ones they won, 3 out of 4 of those they won by only 2 points. So they love playing close, and I would think they would have enough to cover against the Browns, but that's not what we've seen all season. So yeah, give me Kansas City. I mean, the Browns.
I know what you
for the
I was about to
points.
say what?
You guys didn't expect that one, huh? Curveball.
All right, next game. The 4:30 games this Sunday are all really good, at least for the most
Oh yeah,
part.
there's some really good ones.
So we've got the Bills at Detroit. Detroit 2-point favorites at home here. I'll go first on this one. I'm going to take the Lions to cover the 2 points. The Bills, even though they did take a surprising loss against the Rams, the Lions are better than the Rams, so just kind of simple as that. Lions are at home. This should still be a great game, but I don't know. I just can't see the Lions winning by less than a field goal. Especially at home, man. Which also, why does it always seem like the Lions are always at home? Like every game I seem to watch, the Lions are at home. That's neither here nor there. But
Or
yeah,
the
I'm gonna
good
take the
games,
Lions.
or the hard games.
Right. Yeah, this should be a great one. So, Malin, go ahead.
I'm taking Detroit with -2, and here's the reason why: is that I'm just I'm not a believer in either defense. I think Josh Allen is going to eat up Detroit's defense to a certain degree. I think he's going to put up some really good numbers. But when I look at that Buffalo Bills defense, they're 22nd. No, they rank 19th in the league with giving up rushing yards. Detroit has an incredible 2-back combo with Montgomery and Gibbs. They're 22nd in sacks. Jared Goff is going to have a clean pocket probably most of the game. Laporta, he's going to be able to dump it out to him. If on St. Brown is covered. They're 14th in total yards, so Detroit is going to move the ball on them. And so what I think is going to happen is I don't think you're going to have like a 44-42 game. Because playing the Bills, they might not get a bunch of big strikes like the LA Rams did, but they're going to be able to run the ball and move the chains on them. And so I'm looking more at like a 28-24 type of game. It's going to be addition by subtraction with this team. By their run game going, it's going to keep Josh Allen off the field, I think, a little bit more than what Buffalo wants. And so I see Detroit winning a close one. Like you said, every important game Detroit has played this year has been at home. If this game was in Buffalo, it'd be a much different story. But if you're going to give me 2 points to the home team, I'm going to go ahead and take that with Detroit.
Nestor.
Yeah. 2 points for Detroit. I'll take it. Especially with that running game they have going on. I think they got this. So, yeah, give me Detroit.
I'd say that it looks like G Money's been given that look like he's taking the Bills. He's listening to everything we're saying, and he's like, "You fucking idiots."
Go ahead, G Money. Why are the Bills going to win this game?
I'm nervous now.
So, last week, Josh Allen did something that had never been done in NFL history. He rushed for 3 touchdowns. He threw 3 touchdowns. No turnovers. Yeah, they still fucking lost. The Bills are 1-3 on the road against winning teams. The Bills give up 121 yards a game rushing. Detroit rushes for 151 yards. I'm like, there's no fucking way I'm taking Buffalo unless I find out that all of a sudden frickin' Dan Campbell is going on every single fucking 4th down and not making it. Then, you know what? I'm going to go bitch slap that motherfucker. Because at some point, you can't go out on every goddamn 4th down. That's the only thing that can kill Detroit, is if Dan Campbell decides, oh, wait a minute, it's 4th and 27 from my own 3. Fuck it, I'm going for it. That's like sitting at a blackjack table. They've dealt you 2 10s, and you go, you know what? Hit me, motherfucker, hit me. It's like,
not even a 1 in the deck.
It's like, that's not happening. Just, nah, give me, I'll 2 points. I'm giving up 2 points? Nah, yeah. Give me Detroit minus the 2.
Okay, Dan Campbell does make me a little nervous, though. It makes me nervous. I know I didn't get on that in that first part of the show. All I said about it, but
That man's
like
all gun in between his legs.
All Goff had to do was just give him a little sour look, like, "Oh wait, we're not going to go for it. I wanted to go." And Campbell's like, "Fuck it, we're going, people." It's like
4th and 27.
I don't know. It's just, 4th and 27 from the 3. I was going to throw a 40-yard out route to Laporta. Just insane. Oh god. You're playing the Cowboys, just let them block your punt.
Next game, also at 4:30, we've got the Bucks going to LA to play the Chargers. Chargers are 3-point favorites. This should also be a great game. Malin, we will start with you first.
Man, I have a hard time going against the Bucks on this one. I'm trying to convince myself to play the Chargers, but I know that Herbert's a little bit banged up, not 100%. That offense, the defense is playing great, but the offense just hasn't really been producing like I thought the offense would this year. I think that Evans is finally going to get back healthy. I don't know. I'm just a believer in Baker Mayfield going over there, doing Baker things. I'm going to go ahead and take the Bucks on this one and watch me lose. But the Chargers have not impressed me like the last 3 or 4 weeks. At least the offense hasn't. The defense has been impressing me, but the offense has not been impressing me. I'm gonna go and take the Bucks on that.
Nestor.
I actually saw a lot of the Tampa versus Vegas game, and I do like that new kid they have. He's playing out of his mind. Wide receiver, I think his name is what is it, McMillan or something?
McMillan, yeah, he's a Husky.
He's playing great ball. That's why I hate doing this because this is a tough one. Damn it. I saw some certain points in the game that they allowed the Raiders to kind of just ease back into the game. It seemed like that instead of just killing them off completely. And that kind of worries me. Fuck. I'm gonna give it to the Chargers on this one, even though I don't like it, just because of their defense. They're playing away, other side of the coast, and I think that's gonna be a problem for them. So, yeah, give me the Chargers.
All right, G Money.
As we saw with when the Chargers played Kansas City, they don't have a running game. Once J.K. Dobbins went out, they do not have a running game. And Tampa's defense is a lot better than Kansas City's. And the Chargers seem to be, even with Harbaugh as their coach, and this may change next season, but it's not changing this season, they're doing that end of season swoon where they were playing well and then they start playing bad. You know, they don't play as well, and maybe they hobble into the playoffs and they get spanked by, like Jacksonville spanked them. You know, I'm taking Tampa. I think they've got a better defense, and I think offensively they're playing better, and they do have a run game.
Yeah, I'm also taking Tampa reluctantly, I will say, because
I thought y'all were gonna shit all over me on this pick.
I hate watching this. I'm gonna be watching this game, and I'm gonna be kind of rooting for the Chargers because I don't want to.
So what I'm hearing is Chargers by 20. So that sounds great.
Terrible.
Yeah, I don't know how this is gonna go, but can we? If Tampa with 3 points, I would imagine this is a close game. So, yeah. All right, 4:30. We've got the Steelers going to Philly. Eagles are 4.5-point favorites. This should be a great game. Nestor.
I feel like the Eagles are going to win this one, but I don't like the 4.5. I think it's going to be a closer game, and crap. Yeah, for that reason, give me the Steelers. Eagles win, but it's going to be closer than that.
G Money.
You know, Tomlin has never beaten Philadelphia in Philadelphia. In fact, anybody have any idea the last time Pittsburgh beat Philadelphia in Philly?
1997.
It was before any of you were born. Hell, I was still in England, and football was not what you guys play here. 1965. 1965 was the last time Pittsburgh beat Philly in Philly.
Damn.
Yeah, fucking long ass time, right?
You're taking a Steelers.
But you know, I think the deciding factor here is going to be Saquon Barkley. Jalen Hurts is Jalen Hurts. He's not a great quarterback. He's not a good quarterback. He's an okay quarterback. And for some reason, he and A.J. Brown are not seeing eye to eye. Something about him sleeping with his girlfriend or something. I don't know. That's a rumor. I heard it. Heard it from someone, not quite sure who. Could be true, not sure. But, so, in fact, last week, AJ was like wide fucking open. I mean, could have been, worst case scenario would have been a 65-yard completion. More than likely would have been a touchdown because the safety was off in fucking Never Land and the corner had bit on an in route. But, yeah, and Jalen he looked at him. He looked at AJ for like a second and a half, and then he checked down to the tight end. It's like, yeah, fuck you, motherfucker. Sleep with my fucking woman again. You are never getting your fucking ball. So, I like Pittsburgh's defense. I think Russell Wilson will keep them in the game. Whether they win it or not, I'm not sure. But you give me 4.5 points, I'll take that.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree. I think Russell will definitely keep him in the game with 4.5 points. This should come down to the wire. I will say though, it wouldn't completely shock me if the Steelers won this outright. In which case, I feel like the Eagles would spiral in a very similar fashion to what they did last year, because the writing is kind of already on the wall with AJ Brown making waves again, and right around the same time of the year, because this time last year they were just unraveling all the way out of the playoffs. So if they lose this one at home, I mean, Pittsburgh's a good team, so there's no real shame losing this, but they're favored to win. Combine that with some locker room drama here, I think the Eagles could be in a little bit of trouble. But Malin.
Yeah, I gotta go with the Steelers on this. Not only can Sirianni not call a good game and relies on just the talent in which plays for him, he doesn't know how to lead a team either. When locker room drama starts to swirl, he's just kind of non-existent a little bit. And hey, Jason Kelsey, he's out there flipping the Eagles helmet cart last week. That's crazy. I don't know if you guys saw that. That was wild. You start getting drama between your number one wide receiver and your quarterback, and they're gonna go with Saquon goes. And it just so happens that the Steelers have the 4th-ranked rushing defense in the NFL, giving up only 91 yards a game. So I look for them to kind of bottle Saquon up as best that you could bottle him up while he's healthy. And Russell Wilson, I swear to God, it seems like he only completes 50% of his passes every game, but he's making the throws when he needs to make it to win you a game. When Hurts is not making those throws in those tough situations, like Russell Wilson still has that clutch gene in him.
Yep.
And he's playing himself into another lucrative contract. So I like the Steelers with the plus 4.5. I think it's actually a little bit disrespectful to the Steelers that you only have one game between those two. Like one's lost 2, the other one's lost 3, and yet you're giving the home team another 1.5.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit disrespectful to Pittsburgh. And I like Tomlin is just doing Tomlin things. Did you guys see that thing that Tomlin did where he was taking the microphone off because he had been mic'd up on the game? And that player comes walking around. I was like, "Oh shit, you were mic'd the whole game!" And he shut up, get your ass in the locker room, just start cussing. And I was like, "Okay, see, Tomlin is a cool guy because he's literally get your bitch ass in the locker room, and that player is like 3 feet taller than him and could easily crush him." But Tom's like, "Fuck you, man," and he's like, "Yes, sir." Yeah, Tomlin has control over his team in a way that Sirianni doesn't. So I like the Steelers.
All right. And last but not least, the Sunday night game. We've got the Packers going to Seattle, where the Packers are 3-point favorites on the road. G Money, we will start with you.
I don't know why the fuck they're a 3-point favorite. I mean,
Goddamn
I've seen
right.
their defense.
How the fuck
And let's not forget that the last 2 times the Packers played in Seattle, they lost. They lost the fail Mary, and then in the playoffs when they were up by it was 19-7 with 3 minutes left. Not only did we fucking come back and tie it, but we landed up winning it, kicking the onside kick, and their fucking tight end couldn't catch the goddamn ball.
preacher?
Seriously, Green Bay, you're gonna give me 3 points at home? Fucking Love is gonna wish he was loved. He's going to be picking his ass up off the ground a few times. And I don't know if Woolen or if Witherspoon or if Reed or Love or Kobe is going to get a pick, but I'm pretty sure 2 of those players are going to get a pick each.
Okay.
So obviously give me Seattle plus the 3.
Just to confirm that. Yeah, I'm also taking Seattle at home here. The line here did surprise me. I thought this would be like a pick'em game type of thing, but to give the Seahawks, plus 3 at home when they're just trying to stay at the top of their division, it's like they've got a lot to play for here. The Packers do too, but not in the same sense. So yeah, I will happily take the Seahawks plus the 3 points here at home. So, Malin.
You got Seattle playing in prime time, which that place gets loud in prime time. Carroll was a staggering, 78% winning, but when it came to playing under the lights. But now you got Mike McDonald, but that defense is playing just really great ball. If I'm going up against Green Bay, Minnesota the next 2 weeks, I'll tell you what, Addison and Jefferson scare me as wide receivers a little bit, but there's nobody on the Packer side of the ball, the wide receiver, that scares me going up against our secondary with Seattle. Jordan Love was 12 of 20 for 206 yards and 1 touchdown. And you know what? Josh Jacobs only had 66 yards, even though he had 3 touchdowns. And the Lions gave them some points with some of we talked about Campbell's decision making. So I just think that Seattle, that defense has found some answers. They're playing, I'm not saying at a Legion of Boom level, but they're playing Legion of Boom-esque right now as far as flying all over the place. They're not missing a whole lot of tackles. And they're befuddling offensive coordinators the last few weeks. So I'm going to go ahead and take Seattle in this. If you're going to give me a +3 at home on prime time, and Seattle like you guys said, Seattle knows how much they need this game. This one, when they know that the Vikings are looming, they know that they're going to have a showdown with the Rams. They really need this game. Yeah. So I think they need it more than the Packers. So yeah. So Nestor, don't make me mad. With your pick.
Go ahead, Nestor.
I think although Jordan Love doesn't know who his main wide receiver is, and then they'll have games where Reed is a complete no-show. And yeah, Josh Jacobs hasn't been who we expected him to be. I think their defense is a bit underrated. That defense has kept them in a lot of games that, in my opinion, the offense would not have kept them in it. So for that reason, I just feel like Seattle's playing amazing ball lately. Not just ups and downs with stopping the run, but when you look at the O-line and how they're protecting Geno Smith, I think they only pressured him 5 times out of how many times last game. They really protect him pretty well. So that's key to me. JSN, Zach Charbonnet. The only thing I'm wondering is if I should put Tucker Kraft in against Seattle for my fantasy team. But anyway, I'm pretty sure Seattle's going to take this game, so give me Seattle.
So that tells me that we are all in agreement for all these games except the Chargers and Bucks game, where Nestor is taking the Chargers -3.
That's the only disagreement we have.
That is it.
That's it. Which
Oh,
means we're either gonna go like
we're fucked.
1-4
Or 4-1.
or 4-1. Yeah.
Or we could go 5-0 and Nestor can.
That's true.
4-1.
We could.
That's
That is a possibility.
I won 5 and won 4.
But
I mean,
Nestor isn't. He's not that lucky to go 4-1.
I mean, that would be some crazy shit if that happened. I'd have to break out some high-end alcohol.
Well, that's going to do it for this week's show. Is there anything else you guys want to mention before we get up out of here?
I do have something funny to share because I came across it earlier, so I pulled it up. So Devontae Adams is having a little bit of disguise. So since October 13, Devontae Adams has lost to the Steelers, traded to the Jets, lost to the Steelers, lost to the Patriots, beat the Texans, lost to the Cardinals, lost to the Colts, lost to the bye week because he's playing on the Jets, lost to the Seahawks, lost to the Dolphins, and been eliminated from the playoffs. So Devontae Adams is just having himself a year. I think that when he showed up on the Pat McAfee show with Aaron Rodgers, they were hella confident that they were going to do something, and they ain't done a goddamn thing.
You can go play Dragon Age with Kyle.
In fact, don't how many wins do the Raiders
can bring
have
the
this
Taco
year?
Bell.
Yeah,
they're not
so
far.
he got traded to a team. Yeah, he got traded to a team with one more win than him. Raiders, they've both been eliminated from the playoffs. The Raiders have 2 wins and the Jets have 3 wins. That's awesome. Meanwhile, he forced himself out of Green Bay after Aaron Rodgers left. And what has Green Bay been doing? Oh, nothing. Just going to the playoffs.
I mean,
good job, Devontae.
It's funny because when he wanted out of Vegas, he was like, "I want to go play with either David Carr, who is now out for the rest of the season, or I want to play with my old quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, who, by the way, is mentally out for the season." So I'm like, dude, seriously, that Taco Bell in your house, do you also have like a grow zone? Because I think it's legal now in Vegas, in Nevada. So I'm just guessing you were like puffing like a mad dog, and for some reason thought that, oh yeah, the Jets. This must be the Jets of like 85, 86. Because the defense was solid, and yeah, I've got these other receivers and it's Aaron Rodgers, and he's probably lighting everything up because, heaven forbid you look at the standings and the stats and realize that, no, you don't want to go to either one of those teams. If you want to be traded somewhere, go to fucking Kansas City. Not that they would trade you there, but then again, maybe they would because anybody...
Pittsburgh wanted him.
Yeah, could have gone to Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh
they
wanted Devontae Adams. They wanted him. Could you imagine Russell Wilson and Pickens and Devontae Adams right now with Najee Harris the way he is? Pittsburgh tried to get DK Metcalf away from Seattle. And you're like, Pittsburgh has been actively looking for another star wide receiver for like the entire offseason and through the years. So, interesting.
That might happen next year.
Probably. Yeah, DK Metcalf. It'll probably be Tyler Lockett. Tyler Lockett is.
Tyler Lockett's going to be gone, and DK may be gone too, because I think it's the end of. I think this is his last season. And
he has one more after this. I just hope
they may trade him. They may trade him. If they can get a good deal, they may trade him. just because they could use that money elsewhere. Plus, they'll end up probably signing Gino to like a 3-year, $90 million contract with $65 million guaranteed.
God, I hope not.
I you can almost look at certain things and go, this makes sense. There's really, I mean, either that or you're going with Sam Howell because you're not going to be a high enough draft pick to draft anybody. This is not a good quarterback draft. I mean, I don't know who you're going to draft.
I would just like to point out for the show of record that there has not been a Seahawk game that G Money and I have watched this entire year where G Money has not said on at least 2 occasions, this is why Geno Smith is not getting a contract extension because he does something during the game once or twice a game where G Money is like, and this is why you're not getting a contract extension.
Right. That's why you're not going to get that big deal that you want, like the 150, the 3-4 year. Probably wants like a 5-year, $240 million contract, which he's not going to get. But if we can get him for $35 million, and the O line plays like it's been playing the last 2 games basically since they're getting. I mean that right tackle, not right tackle, right guard, the rookie, he's a fucking beast. He steamrolled that linebacker for the Cardinals, and then he barked at him. I mean, I'm like, motherfucker. It's like, yeah, come at me again, bitch. I'm like, yeah, that's what we need. We need people like that. You just get down and bite his fucking kneecap. But anyway, I've taken up much of the time. Guys, people, tune into the show. This is a great fucking show. You're not watching the NBA basketball. We know that.
That's a very good point. All right, folks. We want to thank you all for watching or listening, whichever one you're doing here. Probably just listening at this point. But we will talk to you all next weekend for episode 218. When I say next weekend, I mean next week, of course. And yeah, have a good week. See you all next time. Peace out.
Yep.